Hi guys, I'm Hazel from Rebel Wolf, and here are 5 ways that you're self-sabotaging your own blog. Now, over the years, I've watched myself and countless clients start and build businesses using content, and without exception, every single one has been undermined at some point by some form of self-sabotage. Taken from a girl with well over a decade of blogging experience, as well as bipolar disorder, anxiety, PTSD, and probably ADHD. The path to blogging success is riddled with self-sabotages. And for those of you interested, I say probably because I've never actually had the last one officially diagnosed, lest I be crushed beneath the weight of so many initialisms. But despite my many labels, you don't need to have mental health issues to self-sabotage your blog. Some of the most self-assured, charismatic, business-savvy entrepreneurs I've ever seen, personally, professionally, and just from fangirling them all over the internet, they fall prey to self-sabotages. They sneak up on you like Smeagol after the Precious, and they're equally wicked, tricksy, and false. Recognizing them in yourself, however, can be a bit of a bitch. So it is with much love and many hugs that I drop this list and call you all out on the various ways that you're screwing up your own blogging success. Now, number one, you don't prioritize writing your blog. And I hold my hands up to this one. It's the worst thing I'm guilty of. It's also the biggest problem many people experience in terms of self-sabotaging. I run a business. I have clients. There's work to do for those clients, deadlines to meet for those clients, and I frequently get so swept up in delivering all my client work that I struggle to find time to create my own content. And this is true of anyone, both running and marketing a business. It's not just one that solopreneurs fall victim to either. It's definitely something I did as a solopreneur, but it's also something that regularly happened while I was working for a digital marketing agency. The agency policy was always client work first. If the team didn't get to writing a blog or a social post for the company that week, it was accepted as irritating but sort of inevitable. The problem with this is that you get so accustomed to never having time to market yourself properly that it becomes normal. And even with the best of intentions, it's really difficult to actually change that. So I went in with every intention of doing so, and I did for a while. But then COVID hit, all but the bare essential staff were put on furlough, and it was back to that client work first mentality. And it's an understandable philosophy whether you're working for yourself or managing a team. Your client work or the delivery of products you have for customers and orders must take priority. They're paying you. They expect and deserve the highest quality. They expect deadlines to be met, and you want them to be happy so that they come back for more. And the problem with upholding this philosophy is that it fundamentally damages your ability to function as a business. And I'm really not exaggerating there. Your business lives and dies on its ability to generate regular revenue. Whether that's by selling products or providing a service, it doesn't matter. If you focus solely on the clients or customers you currently have at the expense of a system that consistently generates new leads and new conversions, you're going to run out of revenue. That's just a fact. Even if your current customers have a high chance of a repeat business, unless 100% of the revenue you're generating this month is guaranteed to repeat next month and every subsequent month, you need new prospects. Sure, you may have enough retained work to guarantee your income for the next 6 months or even a year, but what happens after that? What happens when your current clients decide not to continue working with you? When the customers currently buying from you have bought everything that you have on offer and can't spend any more with you? When those who came to you for one specific thing unsubscribe from your list and you never hear from them again? So how do you prioritize your own marketing? Your blog is an incredibly powerful tool for driving consistent traffic to your website and ensuring you have a steady stream of new prospective clients. But it hinges on consistency. If you're not posting regularly because you don't always have time, you're not going to create that organic traffic stream. In fact, you're going to struggle to gain any new business through your website at all. And I get it, writing your own blog, it's for you, and therefore it's not as worthy of your time and attention as other things, client work, family, friends, the dog, your goldfish, helping out random strangers. But here's the thing, you are worthy and your business is worthy. Your blog is worthy. And that mindset shift that you have to make is starting to value yourself and your own business success as highly as you do your client and customer satisfaction, your spouse, your kids, or whatever else it is that always takes precedence over your blog. And it's not easy. Many of us, and in particular women, are hardwired to put the needs of others before our own. It's how we're raised. So think of it this way. When you fail to effectively market yourself, you're depriving all the people who could benefit from your product or service. If you prioritize your own marketing, you're ensuring you reach and therefore help as many people as possible. Number 2, you procrastinate on every blog post. And this is another huge self-sabotage when it comes to blogging. Procrastination. You know you need to get it done, but you put it off. A lot of the time, this is tied to a struggle to prioritize your own blog and marketing, but equally, it can be down to a lack of motivation, a lack of confidence in your ability to do a worthy job, uncertainty over what you should be writing about, writer's block even, or any number of pesky little mind monkeys that are bothering you while you're trying to write. Imposter syndrome is a big one. You start thinking things like, who am I to be writing this? I'm not an expert. And then you get little old me, which is when you think, well, nobody cares what I think, not little old me. So maybe you start writing and then remember you've not put the washing in or didn't send that email, or that now is the perfect time to do that job you've been avoiding all week. There's always something else claiming your attention, largely because you're desperately looking around for something, anything, to give you an excuse to put off writing that blog post. Or maybe you sit staring at an empty screen, waiting for the muse to strike and finding it's not quite that simple. The words have abandoned you. You know exactly what you're supposed to be writing about, but you can't think of a single intelligent, witty, or even vaguely relevant thing to write. Research is another rabbit hole of procrastination, and believe me, this is one that doesn't just apply to blogging. When I was writing my book on content marketing, divine blogging, I fell headfirst down this one. I got so caught up in ancient mythology and so obsessed with ensuring I got everything factually correct that I neatly avoided writing a single word of the actual book for about 3 years. Procrastination at its finest. So don't think that because I'm a professional writer whose full-time job it is to write content that I don't procrastinate. I do massively, particularly if it's over a piece of writing that I don't really want to do, like a new sales page for one of my own websites, or a nurture sequence to promote one of my services. I hate them. So how do you stop procrastinating and actually get blogging? Well, over the years, I've developed 3 strategies to beat procrastination. Which one depends on the moment and my mood and exactly what it is I'm procrastinating over. So option 1 is to just write whenever you're in the flow. So if you're standing in line at Starbucks, if you're on the train, if it's 3 a.m. and you can't sleep, it doesn't matter. If you have an idea for a blog post, write it down right then and there. If you don't have anything to write on, improvise. I have a notebook app on my phone for days when I don't have a physical notebook within reach. I've also been known to write on napkins, paper bags, and myself when needed. It doesn't matter. If you're in the middle of something else, stop and write down whatever it is that's in your head. In a big jumble mess, if need be, just keep writing until all the words run out. It may not be elegant or pretty, and it doesn't matter because you can sort it out later. Just get it down while you're thinking about it, because if you put it off, you will forget. Option 2, do you really need to actually write it yourself? And if the answer is no, and you're able to, outsource it. There are times I outsource blogs, website copy, emails, because when I'm completely honest with myself, I just don't want to write them. And the beauty of running your own business is that you don't have to. You have a choice. Option 3, and this one's a really good one, when you just have to get stuff done, set a timer, put 10-15 minutes on the timer. You only have to work on the thing that you're trying to get done for as long as that timer runs, and not a second longer, but while it's ticking, you have to write. Doing this, I often find the buzzer goes off, and I keep writing because I've made it past the wall. And for those of you who have never run, the wall is a term used to describe the point where you're running and your body decides it can't possibly carry on, and your brain is telling you that you have to stop. Now, a lot of people give up when they hit the wall. They either stop the run for the day or they stop running altogether because they believe they don't like running at all. But if you can push past the wall, you finally find your stride. And running from that point on becomes completely effortless. It's easy, it's enjoyable, it's even relaxing. In other words, by forcing yourself to write for 10 or 15 minutes with the promise of an end in sight, you make it through the procrastination and the tough part to the other side where writing is enjoyable and you don't actually want to stop until you're done. Okay, the third problem you might be having is that you're avoiding visibility. Whether you're writing blogs, posting them on your website, basking in the glory of your own achievement, but you fail to do anything to actually make that blog post visible. So you've skipped out the optimization for search, you're telling yourself you don't need it, or you failed to share it on social media because you ran out of time, or you forgot, or you didn't have the right scheduling software, or the dog ate your Instagram login. Like, you thought about sending it out as a newsletter to your list, but figured they wouldn't be interested, and they're not going to read it anyway. In short, you've done the hard part of writing it, but you've failed to do all the other parts that ensure people actually see what you wrote. Most of the time, it's because visibility bothers you on some level. You don't really want people to read your post, snoop around on your website, and generally get all up in your business, and that's fine. Social media isn't for everybody. You may not utilize your email list as a primary marketing strategy. You might have plenty of new business coming from other sources, so you don't really need to make SEO a priority. But here's the big problem with that way of thinking. You are self-sabotaging your blog's success because the more people see your blog, the more lucrative it becomes. Whether you're directly monetizing your posts, generating passive income through traffic, or relying on your website traffic to convert new customers and clients, the more visible you are, the better. So while you don't necessarily need to do all the things to promote it, you need to ensure you have a clear strategy to make your blog visible. SEO is always the core strategy to incorporate into your blog. Failing to optimize your website content for search is just leaving money on the table. Showing to social media and your newsletter after you've done that can be as easy or complex as you like. Maybe you create dedicated content for every platform. Maybe you just share a link and the introduction that you've already written. It doesn't matter how you make your posts visible, as long as people can, in one way or another, easily find them. So how do you overcome visibility fears? The easiest way to do this is to get visible in the least visible way possible to kind of ease yourself into it. So, like I said, optimizing for search should be the bare basics you're doing to make sure your blog has visibility and people find you. The great thing about this is that while it makes your blog visible, you don't have to personally be visible in order to do it. Your website may have photos of you or your team on it, but you don't have to personally show up on a weekly or daily basis to ensure your posts start to rank on SERPs. Like in an ideal world, and you'll always hear me say this, your blog post should include multimedia. So that might be a vlog version of your blog, like this one, a podcast, an audio version, or an infographic. You don't have to start with the vlog and the need to be on camera. You can start with an infographic, which doesn't need you on it at all. If you never want to be the face of your blog and gain visibility in that sense, you don't have to. It's not a requirement. Many successful brands lack a literal person to spearhead them. Videos are created using whiteboard animation, cartoon characters, actors, voiceovers. There are any number of ways to create great content without having to make yourself personally visible, even video content. So if you struggle with this one, take yourself out of the equation. Focus on making your words visible rather than yourself. Number 4, success freaks you out. This one's tied to a fear of visibility and a tendency to freak out in the face of success. You start out strong, really getting into the flow of things, you're blogging regularly, and it starts to work. Huzzah! Yay! So traffic is landing on your site, and in one way or another, be it through ad revenue or affiliate revenue or direct sales, you're generating income. Smashing. The thing is, your blogging's working. And who would have thought? But right around the time that you realize this, you suddenly become inconsistent in your efforts. You miss a week of blogging, and then 2, and then 3, and before you know it, a few months have passed. You've only put out a handful of blogs in that time, and all that lovely traffic that you created has dwindled. Not to worry, you think. I've done it before, I can do it again. So you step it all back up again. Your consistency is perfection. Your visibility has never been greater, and before long, once again, you have a steady stream of traffic flowing to your site and all the benefits that come with that. And then everything inexplicably unravels again. So the problem is you run headfirst into an upper limit. And we all have them. We all have a level of success we're comfortable with, a level that feels achievable, that we feel we are worthy of, that we deserve. And when we start to go beyond that point, we find it deeply unsettling. The specific reasons for this will vary depending on your personality, but frequently they revolve around how much money you feel you're worthy of earning, whether or not you believe in the value of what you're offering, and whether you genuinely view yourself as an expert in your field. Again, imposter syndrome and the not little old me mentality tends to take over here. So you may have a fear of what will happen if you become too successful. You're worried you'll lose friends, you'll sacrifice time with your family, that people will judge you, or you'll be exposed as a fraud. And the brain is a very peculiar thing in this regard. For whatever reason, there's a limit to how much success you can handle. And whenever you hit that limit, your fight or flight response kicks in, which means you either run away from the problem, so you stop blogging or stop blogging consistently, or you start fighting the very thing that's making you successful. For example, you might randomly start blogging about different subjects that aren't relevant, a highly controversial topic that alienates your audience, things like that. So how do you overcome this one? To get over an upper limit, you're going to have to dig into what's actually triggered it. And there could be any number of things, but the ones that I most often see are number or revenue related. So a blog suddenly starts getting a ton more traffic than it used to, and the number of people viewing your blog starts to feel uncomfortable. A video goes viral on TikTok or whatever platform you prefer, and having 1 million plus views makes you panic. You smash your revenue goal for the month, and the thought of having made so much money brings up a ton of money blocks. And the key to overcoming an upper limit is understanding exactly what caused it. And from there, you need to figure out why that specific thing is an issue for you. Are you self-conscious at the thought of so many people reading your words or watching your videos? Do you feel you've somehow done something wrong by earning money in a non-traditional way, so digitally rather than, doing hard labor somewhere? If you can expose the underlying belief that you have that led you to hit that limit, and then reframe that belief so that you're able to kind of move past it, you'll be able to kind of carry on forward without hitting it. And I strongly recommend Gay Hendricks' The Big Leap. It's a great book on upper limits. If you know that your issue is specifically money related, I also highly recommend Denise Duffield Thomas's book and podcast. So they're great. Number 5, you're waiting until you're thinner, or you have better hair, or a better website, or whatever. You feel too fat right now to have photos taken, and there's no point in writing your blog if you're not going to promote it. Your hair isn't long enough or bouncy enough. It's not the right colour, so you best wait until you've had it done before you start. You've DIY'd your website and it's crap. There's no point driving traffic to it until you've got a site worthy of sending traffic to. You can't figure out how to make TikToks, or you need to learn how to make better reels. You've not had any professional photographs taken yet, and before you do that, you're going to need to buy new clothes, and you really should redecorate your whole house and make it look super posh so your videos are chic and slick and look like Marie Forleo and Denise Duffield Thomas's. Any of this sound familiar? I have a newsflash for you. Both Marie Forleo and Denise Duffield-Thomas started out making videos on their iPads or laptops from their regular sofa or the desk in a box room. I started out from the desk in my mother's box room. It wasn't even my cupboard I was working from. And if I can build an award-winning six-figure copywriting business from my mum's spare room while weighing about 22 stone and sporting a range of wigs, then believe me, you don't have to wait for the diet to kick in. There's no need to delay until your next hair appointment or the arrival of the changing rooms team to save your interior decor. All these roadblocks are the same. Your self-conscious fears are trying to save you from potentially humiliating situations, even if you're opting to avoid literal visibility and only showcasing your words and not your face or body. Self-conscious thoughts can and will still derail you. So fretting over how good your website is or whether your graphics for social media are okay, worrying about what you've written being stupid or poorly worded or full of mistakes. It's all been said before. These are all really common fears. So how do you create content when you don't feel like you're good enough? We all have an ego and none of us enjoys the experience of that ego being bruised. The greater problem here is that there are so many great content creators out there, it's difficult to do your thing without comparing yourself to others. And when we compare ourselves to others, we inevitably find ourselves wanting. There's always going to be somebody out there doing exactly what you want to do, but they're already successful at it because they started a while ago and stuck to it consistently while you didn't. There's always going to be somebody doing your thing in a really charismatic, funny, witty, or wonderful way that you feel you can just never match. There's always going to be somebody thinner, fitter, prettier, with better hair, a better website, a nicer set, more followers, big partnership deals, and a freaking alpaca in the garden. Okay? Stop comparing yourself to other content creators. Honestly, it does no good. If you're just starting out, it's pointless because everyone is going to seem far more successful than you. They had a head start, and that's not a fair comparison. And even if you've been going a while, the odds are you're struggling with a few of these mindset issues. And while the people you're comparing yourself to have already had a chance to deal with them, move past them, or they had different ones to contend with, you're assuming that the people you deem successful don't feel exactly the same way you do. And don't, because they probably do. And if they don't, it's usually because they did in the past and learned how to move beyond it. Like, every new level you reach will bring you new people to compare yourself to. Comparisonitis is a real bitch. And the only way to win is to deny it battle. One last thing, you may have noticed there's quite a bit of crossover between these self-sabotaging behaviours. So if you're feeling self-conscious, the odds are you're avoiding visibility. If you're having visibility issues, the chances are fairly good that upper limits are going to start to kick in and cause you to freak out in the face of success. Those upper limit issues may be a reason you're failing to prioritize your own content creation. And any and all of these issues can lead to procrastination. The good news is you're not alone. I have personally battled every demon on this list and somehow still created a steady income and successful business off the back of nothing but a blog. And if I can do it, I promise you, no matter how inventive your subconscious becomes at derailing your efforts, you can find a way to succeed.